there's a sense of like fulfillment, there's a sense of like a joy that has like come over my life, to realize that there is a connection. There is, because I believe that God wants that. I believe that God is a God who wants families to come together. Like that's why he created, humans. And it was just about to love and to honor each other and to love him. And so I think that coming here has been a blessing to him, and I love that. And I think it's been a huge blessing. I know it's been a huge blessing to my wife and I.
All right, welcome back to Hawaii Real, everybody. I'm your host, Ioke Ehu, and I'd like to send a shout out to our beverage host, Hawaiian Springs Water. And you can buy Hawaiian Springs Water directly online from Amazon. The link is in the description below. You can have it ordered and sent directly to your house, from the Big Island to your house. And this episode is brought to you by the Native Hawaiian Chamber of Commerce. The Native Hawaiian Chamber of Commerce's mission is to malama Native Hawaiians in business and commerce through leadership, relationships, and connections to economic resources and opportunities. The Chamber's programs and events are designed to facilitate connections and promote business growth, professional and economic development, and sustainability. The Chamber's membership is open to individuals, nonprofit organizations, and businesses of all sizes. To learn more about the Chamber and how you can join, visit the website www.nativehawaiianchamberofcommerce.org. Okay, and we are back, and this is probably going to be the most personal video that I've made ever. I have with me today, from Idaho, a brother, Jason Least.
Yeah.
The first time we've met, like just yesterday.
Ever, yeah.
Ever.
Yesterday.
Which is fantastic because I'm in my 40s, you're in your 30s,
Yep.
and you didn't know I existed until just a few years ago.
That's right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is that, like, we have a lot of the same mannerisms, characteristics, facial features, and stuff like that, which is kind of cool.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you're left-handed. I'm left-handed. Just different things.
You're handsome. I'm handsomer.
Not quite.
You could try. But I wanted to bring you on because I kind of wanted to hear your story, and I know the audience out here would love to hear like this amazing story of two brothers that have just never known each other throughout their entire lives, and now that they're adults, they're coming together and meeting together. And from my end, I'm finding that, hey, there's a lot of characteristics that I see in you that can really honestly tell me that yes, we have the same biological traits, same DNA. You're my brother. Like, there's no doubt about that in my mind, just from meeting you and talking with you via Facebook Messenger and little video chats and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the first time I texted you. I was extremely nervous because, you're right. I mean, being in my mid-30s, I was just super nervous, and realizing growing up with stepsisters all my life. I've got a blood sister who's 4 years older than I am. And we kind of grew up a little bit together. But yeah, finding out that I have got a brother.
So you don't have any other brothers?
No, that was not at all.
Very cool. Yeah, because I have another little brother.
Right.
From my dad's second marriage. So basically, we'll go back in history. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit too, is like my story and what happened when we were kids, and, basically what was your story, what happened when you guys were little kids, and how did this happen where our lives kind of diverged and went two completely separate ways where we kind of never met until now.
Sure.
For my part, and the stories that I can remember is that we have the same biological mother, and my father had myself and my older sister, and there was a falling out where our mother had like alcohol problems and stuff like that. Right. And so my father had to take myself and my sister away. And this was like when I was 1 or 2 years old. So I don't really have memory of our mother, and it was a lot of living with just a single dad for a number of years until my dad met my stepmom, and they, got married, had more kids. So I grew up with a little brother and a little sister from the second marriage. And so that's been the core of our family on this side from Hawaii, is staying together with 4 siblings and growing up.
Wow. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy that you're saying that, because my story is actually almost exactly the same, in the sense that I know little to almost nothing about our mom, and I have a completely different dad who they met. He was in the Army, military, I think kind of similar situation, how you came about, and had my sister and I, so Melissa and I, and then at about the age of 2, my dad had to pull Melissa and I out of the abuse of alcohol and other things. So he pulled us out, and I have faint memories of a trailer home, and faint memories of there was a market that Melissa and I went to at one point to buy some baseball cards, collectible, kind of the old school, like where you went there and you looked on the shelf and they were in that aluminum packaging. I think I remember the aluminum packaging, and we would go back to that trailer home and she'd pop them open just to kind of see. And I have no idea why they were baseball cards or anything like that, but I vividly remember that the dad I have now was not in the picture. I think there was some separation or something like that. I was really little. So it's kind of interesting to hear that that's the exact, almost same situation as you.
So growing up, you were living in Nevada. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was born in Las Vegas, Henderson, Las Vegas. Yeah. So
did you move around a lot?
Yeah. So Pahrump, Nevada. Ugh. So I know, right? Talk about the pits. I've lived in them, from Pahrump to Dayton to Hawthorne to just Nevada, very rural areas. I mean, obviously Vegas isn't, but Pahrump is very rural and dry desert plains. And so, yeah, my dad was in law enforcement. So there's a lot of history in our families of law enforcement and military. And so he since then got a job working a maximum security prison as like a captain or some type of high-ranking officer in the prison system in Ely, Nevada. And so as about 5 or 6, I remember moving. We moved out to literally the middle of nowhere as a little boy, and coming to find out later in life, I'd asked my dad, so what was the purpose of living in Ely, Nevada, where there's literally nothing? And so he's in his mind, he went through this kind of apocalyptic type of phase where he thought, well, the world's going to end, and so I'm going to
coming up to 2000s.
No, so this was, 20-some plus years ago. So.
Yeah, because there was a lot of freaky things going on. Like
it wasn't the Y2K thing. That was much later. So, he was in his 30s, and it was just something that he felt like he needed to get off the grid and go, become a man and build himself a house and raise his family off the grid. And so he built a ginormous home in the middle of the desert, and literally. So, meanwhile, about every summer or so, because it took us several years to build that house, Melissa and I would go to Las Vegas, because Vegas and Ely are not too far away from each other. So we'd spend a lot of time with his mom and my grandpa, and so kind of just got raised in the high desert, dry heat. And that was kind of my upbringing, as a small boy.
Well, let me tell you, like, your skin is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of lotion, like.
No, I don't even wear lotion. This is funny.
It's just good genetics, man.
Good genetics.
Yeah. So from our mother's side, it's she's part Hawaiian and From what I was told, Scottish
Okay.
and something else. Do you know anything about that?
No, I've never really dived into that. Honestly, it's been kind of emotional, I think, for me to like think back on that. I've had to go through, I feel like, a lot of emotional hurdles in my life of realizing, I don't know about you, but abandonment, right? I mean, it's a real thing.
Yeah, I have the same issues.
And so just realizing that, you had a mom at one point, gave birth to you that, obviously loved, cared for you enough to keep you. And then, so my story was, I wasn't Ford. So Wayne Ford is my grandpa. And so he's, Mel. So he's my dad's mom's husband. So put all that together.
It's like your dad's stepdad.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So he was actually the first one to see me in the hospital after my mom had given birth. So I wasn't like even with my mom, and it was, and I don't even know where my dad was in this point. He could have been working or something, but to find out that later in life, I was practically visited and picked up by my dad's stepdad, which Wayne Ford, I mean, I totally respect and love and honor him. Like, he's an amazing man, but like at the end of the day, like deep down,
where's your mother?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Where's mom? And I've had to wrestle with a lot of issues with that, even just honestly being an adult man, just like I've got my own kids now. And I have an incredible wife and who's mothered my children, and just the work and the time and the emotions and the love that goes all into that is just where's mom kind of thing,
Yes, like your mother is the one person who is not supposed to abandon you, not supposed to leave you.
Yeah.
Especially as a child.
Right.
Especially as a baby.
Right.
I mean, just biologically.
Sure.
It's not supposed to happen.
Right.
Fathers come and go. Yeah, I can, biologically, yeah, animals do that.
Sure.
But,
the nurturing side of the mom.
Mammals, the mom doesn't leave the babies.
Sure.
And human, just for that to happen, it is such a powerful thing that hits on a child day in and day out through their life. And it changes, the direction of their thought process and everything, because I don't know about you, but, for me, I'm second guessing a lot of things, a lot of relationships, a lot of even friends and stuff that I meet. It's always like, I'm not going to get too close to you because you're going to leave.
Yeah. I totally have that issue. I don't like people coming in, and it's funny because obviously we've talked a little bit about like what I do and just being needing to be a people person, and
yeah, because you're a pastor now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and I love people, but I honestly there's a point in my life where there's that love at a distance of just realizing what kind of walls, what kind of barriers am I needing to like protect, and guarding my heart and guarding that part of me that I don't want people to I don't want people in, and I now celebrating coming to Hawaii, 15 years of marriage with my wife, and her realizing over those 15 years is some of the guards that I put up. It's not having a mom is challenging, man. I mean, just even, I mean, I had a mom, right? And I have a mom that stepped into that role of mothering, super appreciative. And there's a whole different kind of love that I have for that woman that has stepped into that role. But I was never formally adopted. I don't know about you. Were you even adopted?
Yeah. So, well, what happened with me is that my dad took us, remarried, had 2 more children, so my little brother, little sister. And then when I was 13, my dad was killed in a training accident. So after that, my stepmother formally adopted myself and our older sister.
Wow.
So otherwise, I don't think the adoption ever would have taken place, but we would just have lived together as, you know, with my dad, stepmom, and brother and sister,
Sure.
you know. But I think having lost my dad was just completely heart-wrenching, because that was like the hero in my life that had taken me away from
Totally.
this, you know, abusive, degenerate relationship
Right.
that he was in.
Right.
And, you know, for a while, it was my dad, me, and my older sister for a number of years.
Same.
Right.
Yeah. Very similar. Yeah.
And so when I lost him, it was just, it was devastating, not just for me, but, you know, for the whole family. But I think for me personally, it was just, it took another level, because I have a little brother that was 6 years old at the time. So, you know, he didn't have as many years with my father or with our father. So I don't know that he obviously didn't have the same relationship with our father that I did, you know.
Sure.
Me being 13 years old. And I look back, it's like, well, my oldest son right now is 13. Like, that's the age.
Wow.
I was his
Wow.
age when this all happened.
Wow.
So, and, you know, funny thing is, like, doing this podcast and everything, you know, you asked, you know, what's one of the reasons I do this podcast? Yeah, I don't have videos of my dad. You know, there may be films and stuff left around, lying around, but they're all like really old, you know, 35 millimeter film or something like that.
Sure.
I don't know how to get that, you know, produced or whatever and put it into digital format. So, you know, we just have still frame pictures of him and stuff like that. So my sons don't know their grandfather.
Wow.
You know, so hey, I think I would like to document a lot of my conversations in my life here on this podcast. So that, you know, hey, if anything does happen, because the world sucks sometimes,
Sure.
you know, there's going to be this content online for, you know.
Well, when I found
kids to
out
see.
that you were doing this podcasting, I was, you know, when I found out about you and what kind of your involvement is in the community and just kind of who you were, and then doing this podcast, it was mind blowing to me that, you know, the quality of it, and for one, and just.
Did you subscribe?
I
If
did.
you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button below.
Yeah, I did.
Good.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, no, I mean, it's just, again, I'm going to look back, you know, and be able to share with my sons, you know, and the importance of documentation and just capturing memories and, you know, using technology the way that we can. And because, man, I can't even imagine what you feel, you know, even with the loss of your dad. And so.
Okay, so I kind of want to get into the realm of, since we're brothers and we haven't known each other forever till, you know, a few days ago, really, or yesterday.
Yeah, even yesterday.
Yeah, I have questions. I have some questions.
Okay.
Like,
Bring it on.
what's your favorite beer?
It's kind of a funny story. So having like beer in our family, like alcohol and stuff,
Right,
I didn't
right.
really even get into drinking. So more until recently, but actually, I've come to really like and appreciate the Big Wave Golden Ale.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's all. I'm
so-
glad I bought some Big Wave Golden Ale.
Yeah. So not in any way of sponsoring the company, but
No,
it's-
well, maybe Kona Brewing Company is right there.
yeah, I mean it's really tasteful.
I'm a Heineken man myself.
I can't stand Heineken.
Well, shit. Okay, we're 0 for 1. But no, this Big Wave Golden Ale. I love Golden Ales.
yeah,
I do not like IPAs. Hate them.
yeah, I can't stand IPAs.
The darker the beer and like Guinness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I've
can't do it.
assimilated it to, and I mean, no offense to IPA guys, right? But it's like eating Dove soap. I mean, it's like just take a bar of soap and just that Dove. Yeah.
Just take some crayons and chew on those.
Yeah, basically.
All right. Music. You like rock music.
I do. I'm a musician, you know? I love all sorts of music.
So that's the funny part, because I'm
Yeah.
not musically inclined at all. I just love to like yell really loudly in my car.
Okay.
That's about the extent of it. I had an acoustic guitar and tried playing it. I couldn't get the hang of it. But you can play a number of instruments.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's music has been a huge part of my life. Just even when I first started an instrument, Played trumpet. I think your boy is curious about playing.
That was my first instrument that I started playing when I was in 6th grade.
Okay, so then there you go. There's a similarity. That was
Trumpet.
the first instrument that I ever played.
Yeah, that was
a
the first
trumpet.
and one of the last.
And
Oh no, I was a bugler in
were you
Boy
a
Scouts.
Get
I was
out of
totally
here.
the bugler. Yeah, because at the time I was playing trumpet a lot during the band and everything
Sure.
like that.
Yeah.
And our Boy Scout troop didn't have a bugler, and I picked it up and just like right away I could just like hit reveille.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Can't do it anymore though.
Well, so I shared with you yesterday that my first music experience was in middle school or elementary school rather, and I was playing the recorder, and like you had to play the Nevada anthem, and I hated the recorder, and I actually threw the recorder at the teacher.
They need to get rid of recorders, man. Those things suck.
They're terrible instruments, and so yeah, I actually didn't even get into music until like hardcore into music until 13 and started picking up the guitar from there. At that point, man, I was all about punk rock music, man. So
Favorite band?
back then it was Blink 182.
Nice. They're good stuff.
Yeah. So and then
I watched them when they came to town.
And then in the Christian punk rock world, I got kind of in my youth group got leaned on towards that. Fillmore was a Christian punk rock band back then. Super good stuff and many others. So yeah. And then Wayne Ford, my grandpa, was a jazz musician. And this man could play jazz so stinking fantastic. I mean, he could play the saxophone and make the flute sing. It was beautiful.
That's kind of cool that you grew up around music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of music, man.
So you grew up around music, so you got into music, and now your children are getting into music, and some of them are really good too.
Yeah. It's actually really exciting. Because as a dad, I was like, secretively thinking, man, it'd be just so cool if like I could have kids who could aspire to play music, and I could learn with them, or I could play with them. Just one of those connecting things that outside of parenting, right? And it wasn't until David, my oldest, now 17, I want to say he was 13 at the time or so, went to an NF concert, and the NF artist had his own drummer, and he was playing these beats, and came back, and the light bulb clicked.
He's like, I want to do drums.
Yeah, and it totally clicked for him, and he started playing drums. And he started playing drums for me. I was leading worship at church, and it was just so cool. And then now, since then, he plays guitar. He's now singing. He plays keyboard. He plays the bass. He plays the drums. Anything this kid touches,
So he's in it.
He's in it.
Yeah,
He's locked
good,
in it.
good.
Yeah. And then my middle son Isaiah, he is a drummer. Dabbles on the keyboard a little bit here and there. But drums are where he's at. He has got so much soul when it comes to drums.
So cool.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, and then Anna, my daughter, she loves to sing. She's constantly singing. We did a performance together, a Christmas performance at the church. It was just amazing. And so she likes to play a little bit of the piano. I've never forced my kids. Maybe that's one of the things as a musician that I never wanted to do, is just force music or force lessons on any one of my kids. I was hoping and praying that it would just kind of organically happen for them. And it has, and that's not everyone's story, but it was mine. And then Noah, our 6-year-old, at the age of 4, we brought home a snare drum, and he was playing just an incredible beat with his hands. And so since then, I had to, set up a music room, and
Nice.
so we've got a drum kit in the music room, and guitars and piano, and just kind of a designated room for music.
So you have your little punk rock band now.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
It's great stuff, man. It's great stuff.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color?
Favorite color, midnight blue.
Midnight blue.
Yeah, I've got a few, but I'd say like off the top of my head right now, it's probably midnight blue.
Yeah, I like blues.
Do you like blues?
I do.
Okay.
That's kind of generic, I guess. But
Well, I mean, you're surrounded by blue.
Yeah.
So I mean, it kind of
I kind of like the turquoise-ish, bluish,
There you go.
like getting more towards like the ocean, the color of the ocean when it gets towards the shore.
yeah,
That kind of turquoise.
it's beautiful.
Yeah. So we were just at the beach today, boogie boarding.
Yeah, it was super fun.
This is your first time. You didn't die.
I didn't die. Yeah, I mean, I've done so California waves. I mean, Hawaii waves are so much better. I mean, honestly, there's just a completely different wave of water coming at you.
Well, it's a lot warmer too.
True. I mean, I don't know if that has to do with how they coming in, but I mean, I've been in San Diego several times. You know, San Francisco Bay and in places in there, and just, I mean, obviously it's freezing cold, but the waves like here are they're amazing. They're really, really something spectacular. So that was fun.
Knock that off your bucket list.
It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah,
Favorite movie growing up?
it's a hard one.
Movie series. One of your favorite movies?
I really, I'd say like Back to the Future.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, throwing back there. I like.
Which one? All
So
of
the
them?
first one would be my favorite.
That's a classic, and my kids have watched it and love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It transcends,
It's
generations.
Kinda, yeah, it's kind of one of those movies that does that. So, and then I think one of the newer ones. I mean, I like The Matrix.
Nice.
Yeah, just kind
It's
of
a
that
good series.
sci-fi thing, going on there. So it's
Do you have those kind of Matrix thoughts about the world? Like things, woo. Things,
yeah, kind of sometimes, like for sure.
Like
yeah.
you see deja vu. It's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
a glitch in the Matrix.
right? Yeah, yeah.
You must have taken the red pill.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you
Maybe the-
survived,
Yeah.
and you've done things. I mean, just in the short time I've known you here, like you've been telling me stories about some of the things you've done, like how you met your wife and how you stayed at the hospital with her and stuff like that. Like that's amazing.
Yeah,
It's not a normal story. It's not a normal thing that I don't think normal people would do at that point in time of your life.
sure.
That's
No,
just
I
amazing.
mean at 18, no, that was not what I had anticipated happening in my life. I was visiting family. So I turned 18. I was like, hey, I'm going to go visit our mom's side of the family. Because all growing up until that point, there was never a story of anything of that side of the family. It wasn't a part of our story. It was never a part of conversation. My dad never mentioned her ever. And so I always knew that there was something missing. And so at 18, I was just like, hey, I want to go see like there's a whole nother side of me that I don't know what's going on. So I went, and during that trip, so I had met my wife, Natalie, then, but we met at youth group. And so just like we weren't even really kind of like friends at that point. We're just basically, I knew she was coming to youth group. And so she had during the time she was going to Boise, Idaho, we were in Carson City, Nevada. She was headed to Boise, Idaho, and I was heading to Las Vegas, Nevada. And tragically, there was she had a car accident, and that was kind of her story to tell. But be that as it may, I ended up getting a phone call that led me to a 10-day trip in the hospital, meeting and staying by her bedside, and actually thereafter completely falling in love with this woman.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah, I mean, completely falling in love with her. And at that time,
And then she woke up and was like, "Who's this stranger?"
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You're just like sitting there staring at her.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
That's good stuff. Though.
Yeah, so pretty wild, man. We have, a lot of similarities I feel, and connect with, but also have very unique,
Of course, yeah.
different stories and paths. So what's your favorite movie?
I love the Star Wars series. Empire Strikes Back is probably
There you
one
go.
of my best
Okay.
ones.
I would, what? Thinking
love
about
it.
that?
But my all-time favorite movie, which is Miracle from Disney, It was the 1980 Olympic hockey team from the U.S. playing against the Soviets.
Yes.
Freaking love that movie.
Okay.
Best sports movie ever made.
Okay.
Not my opinion, fact. And
There you
no,
go.
what I love about that movie is during production is that they didn't get actors to play hockey players. They got hockey players to be actors.
Oh.
So all the plays and everything
it's
that
like
they're doing,
legit.
it's legit. Those are players.
Yeah.
And they just found the players that looked like the actual teammates from the 1980 Olympics.
Wow.
And they would run the plays on camera and everything that they actually did during those Olympic Games.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so what you're seeing on ice during the movie, those are the plays that you can go in and watch on YouTube videos of the 1980 Olympics. And yeah, you can kind of recognize what they're doing.
Sure.
It's really, really cool. No one other
That's cool.
sports movies do that. It's definitely not the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
It's just trash. Trash movie.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so you're a hockey player, right? I mean,
Yes.
I never played hockey. I think the closest
Nobody's
thing,
perfect.
Yeah, I know. I think the closest thing that I got to hockey was like street rollerblades.
But you skateboard.
I did. Actually, aspired to be a professional skateboarder.
So yeah,
Yeah.
we're
I
doing
was-
something on wheels.
Yeah. Fast and dangerous,
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
kind of live on the edge.
Yeah, because I grew up playing roller hockey. I didn't get into ice hockey until I was an adult.
Okay.
Maybe only about 12 years ago
Okay.
or less. Yeah, about that.
So do you still roller hockey?
Yeah.
Nice.
From time to time.
Because
Oh,
you're
I'm getting old,
kind of
man.
getting old.
I'm
I mean,
getting
it's
old.
like,
Let's be
oh my
honest,
God.
It's
Yeah.
not getting any easier. But that's kind of what led me down to inventing the slide plate product for the goalies.
Which is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I was getting older and my
Yeah.
hips were getting sore, my knees were getting sore, so I knew I had to do something. So once I created this product that helped goalies slide, my knees felt better, my hips felt better. I was just like, wow, I can't believe like that was the problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I wasn't stretching enough. It was that
Yeah.
wasn't sliding. So that's helped so many other people around the world with the same
awesome.
problems that I had. So
Super cool.
I love doing that. I love like building a company to help other people and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So
Love that.
that's part of this podcast too. Is I was telling you before we started the podcast, one of the main things that I like about this podcast is that I want it to make almost a gift for the guest. You know, I
Sure.
want the guest to look good, sound good, and really appreciate the production and the show that they put on here when they come. So that I want the guest to really want to share their episode with their friends, their family, and be proud of it.
Sure. Yeah, no, and I think I was telling you even earlier, just how I was amazed and by what you kind of do. We were talking about how, a lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scenes of the podcasting and making it look and presentable, that listeners want to stay connected and actually watch, segments of it and stay, have it be relevant and stuff. And I think you do a great job, man. I've never,
Thanks, man. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's really great. It's really great material you're putting out, man.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think one of the going back to the similarities, differences. When I first saw your picture, when you first sent it to me,
Yeah.
I was like, "That's my brother. Look at that forehead. That was a 5 head. Look at the 5 head.
Yeah.
It's not a 4
We
head.
have these giant noggins. Like, it's
just
ridiculous.
the brain, man. It's just brain mass.
I
It's all
know.
in there.
But actually, so I think one of the funniest pictures, I still can't get over it today, is the character Megamind and you. I mean, bro, you and Megamind you did the whole face swap thing. It'd be so good.
Well, you're not too far away, buddy.
I know, but at least I'm growing it up, man. I am.
Yeah, it's the reason we grow the long hair because we have these big noggins.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually used to shave my head.
Did you?
Yeah, for
Like
work.
like bald?
Not bald,
Okay.
like just the razor, the clippers, like down to its lowest setting.
Okay.
Yeah, so the really, really short peach fuzz kind
Yeah.
of thing.
So growing up as a kid, I was my dad, so he never wanted to take us to a barber. So anytime we needed a haircut, he'd do a number 2,
And just buzz you.
buzz me. It's getting long, son. Get over here.
So now you got the mane.
Yeah. So now I'm like, I feel kind of rebellious a little bit,
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous. Your hair is kind of, sticking to the top better than mine is. Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. Give it another 5 or 10 years.
Hey, listen, if I can grow it now, I'll be happy. We'll see what it looks like in 5 years.
I don't know. For me, it's like thick around the sides and it's like going thinner on the top.
Yeah.
It's like so stupid.
It is what
It's
it
like,
is,
why doesn't
man.
it go thinner on the sides where I don't need it?
Yeah.
It's like, that's where I actually cut the hair.
Yeah, exactly.
I swear.
Whatever.
Biology is weird. Or is that evolution? I don't know. It's like, why?
We're going biology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similarities. So, I mean, it's like the whole nurture versus nature thing. I mean, just talking and being around you and seeing like your facial characteristics and how you smile and stuff like that. It's like sometimes I'm just looking like in a mirror, me looking in a mirror.
Yeah. It's
Scary.
It is. I think that's kind of the, like, I keep using the word weird, you know, in terms, you're just like, okay, that's fine. But it's just like, yeah, I mean, it is. You know, to not, I think too, growing up with just sisters that's rough, bro. That was rough. Like, I already had identity issues. It's like, you know, oh man. So it's so good to be here. It's so good to see you. And
oh, good. You have a brother.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Dude, I can't imagine just a group of sisters. How many sisters? 4?
4. So Melissa being a blood sister, so
Mhm.
Melissa, and then 3 stepsisters, and then now realizing that I have another sister. So, I mean, yeah, which I haven't still met yet. I mean, I haven't even seen her ever.
Yeah, she's out here.
So I'm excited to maybe see how that goes. You know, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's some trials and tribulations on this side of the family also, you know. Yeah, she had some of the same issues that our mother had. So it didn't go well with her alcoholism and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's hard, man. You know, alcohol is, you know, we can sit here and enjoy one together, you know, and realizing having a very deep story of damage, you know, and just, I guess, realizing that we do have a sense of self-control, you know, and it's okay, you know, and to exercise, you know, self-control.
Unless it's ice cream.
Okay, and then it's out the door.
Or pie. Did you see the size of that piece of pie I had?
Yeah, I was kind of actually.
Yeah, when it comes to sweets, I don't know, man.
Okay, so are you a chocoholic? Are you
not
like,
really chocolate?
Okay,
but creamy ice cream and stuff like that. I love.
See, I used to be that way, but you know, after 25 or something, my digestive system just kind of flipped upside down. So like major thick dairy, like creamy. Like I used to drink whole milk straight out of the gallon. I mean, it was just like, give me.
But now you can't,
like,
yeah.
If I could squeeze it out of the udder, I was like, you know.
No, we got to do like the lactose-free milk and stuff like that.
Yeah, so now I'm lactose free and all that jazz.
Which tastes the same.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it's
haven't
actually delicious.
Yeah, I think it tastes better.
That vegan ice cream sandwich we just had last night.
From Whole Foods.
Yeah,
the Uncle's sandwiches. Go get them. Try those things.
Yeah,
from Whole
they
Foods.
were
Those things are delicious.
super good.
Yeah, those are really good. I like the cookie part of it too, because I don't know how, but like the ice cream is frozen, but the cookie is still super soft. Because usually an ice cream sandwich,
right, everything's
the cookie
frozen.
Could be frozen
hard.
and hard, but it
Yeah,
wasn't.
It was delicious.
It's like a super soft, mushy, moist.
It's such a weird
Yeah.
moist.
You're gonna hate that. Sorry, but yeah, moist cookie. Yeah, it's really, 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 really good. Yeah, so sweets. But you like spicy food now, but you didn't like it growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I still can't do spicy food.
Yeah, I like.
I'm a wuss.
So I think there's 2 kind of differences between spicy and hot. So I actually like spicy is like flavorful to me. That's the language I hear when I hear the word spicy. Like it's got lots of flavor and it kind of hits your tongue and it just explodes in your mouth, right? And there's some sense of temperature to it, but I like hot food now. Like if it's hot, I'm all about it. and you know, 10 years ago, bro, I couldn't even touch a mild taco packet.
That's your taste buds dying on you.
Yeah, and I shared the philosophy with you. It was like, you know, if you know, there's so many things in life that hurt. You know, food should not hurt.
Like,
and
I see people eating hot, spicy food, and they're all like turning red and sweating and going, whoo. I'm just like, why are you doing that to yourself?
I don't know.
And you know what's going to do to you tomorrow? Like, why are you doing that? Because it tastes good. I'm like, it doesn't.
Yeah, but
I've been pepper sprayed. And no.
Okay, but that's different, right?
Not really. It's like getting chili peppers in your eyes, man.
Yeah. Spice on everything.
I never want to get pepper sprayed again, man. It was one of the worst things I ever had.
I've only seen YouTube videos. I can't even
Oh my
imagine.
God. Okay, so have you ever been sunburnt?
Oh yeah,
Okay, so imagine the very worst sunburn you've ever had on your face.
yeah.
And then somebody smacking you for like 2 hours. And no matter what you put on it, it doesn't go away. And then on top of that, they took a bucket of sand and threw it in your eyeballs. And you can't get it out. You're blinking. It's just not coming out.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it
intense.
hurt. It sucked. I couldn't see straight for the rest of the day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it sucked.
Wow.
And I've been tasered. I'd be like, dude, I'll take the taser any day. Because you get tasered, yeah, your whole body kind of contorts and everything. But once
Sure.
you turn it off,
You're done.
you're done. You're
Right.
good. Stand back up, walk away. But pepper spray, man, you get a little bit of that. If you get it in your lungs, oh man, you're coughing and sneezing for a while. You got snot coming all out of your nose.
Ugh.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, no thanks.
Well, I wanted to ask, how did you get into the pastor profession?
Growing up with my dad, so when he left to get us out of the situation with our mom, he met my stepmom. She was a pretty devout Christian. At that time, he was not. He was pretty anti-Christian, really. I mean, wanted nothing to do with any type of religion and any type of that setting. But God got a hold of his life, honestly, and changed him, changed his heart, changed his mind, changed his thinking, and so he raised us from that point. Granted, I'm like 2 or 3. Melissa is 4 years older than I am, so she's anywhere from 5, 6 years old or so. So just growing up in that atmosphere of Christian values. And so grew up and then he became a pastor himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so eventually he pastored. And so growing up as a PK, pastor's kid, was different, and I think I don't want to put like the stereotypical PK block out there, that they all go through this rebellious stage, but there was a sense of that definitely growing up as a teen. I went to youth group for the social interactions, and for the girls, I mean, really, I'll be honest. And so just did a lot of things internally. I knew, because we all have what the Bible says, the law of God written on our hearts. And so we know wrong from right, whether you believe Jesus as your Savior or not. And so there's this sense of moral code, if you will, that is always there. And so as a teen, as a young man, I just knew like what I was doing was not what I was supposed to be doing, making just unwise decisions, and abusing situations and that I shouldn't have been doing.
So you knew as a teen that you knew that, or
I
did you
did.
only know that later?
Yeah, no, as a teen, I was fighting that a lot. I was fighting in what I now know, the Holy Spirit, of just like constantly reminding like what you should be doing. And I was fighting that a lot. And so at age 17, I had kind of this awakening in my life that led me to a realization of making a decision, because we're gonna have to make a decision in life, whether we believe it or whether we don't believe. And for me, my faith was merely just put on a facade. There was no genuine faith growing up as a youth. But at age 17, I distinctly remember having a youth pastor just kind of point out there that, hey, listen, you've got to make a decision, whether you make that now or if you have the next day, then so be it. But the Bible clearly says that you're going to choose the Lord or you're going to choose man and in the ways of this world. And what does that mean for you, right? For me as a 17-year-old boy. And so I did. I declared in my life that I was going to, not knowing what that was going to lead into, but declared in my own life that I wanted to choose to follow God. I wanted to choose to follow his principles, and whatever that looked like, and the journey through having faith of trusting someone that I needed to really learn about. And so I did that. And then shortly later, met my wife. I mean, at 18, I got married at 19. She had already had a son through a different situation, and so I adopted him, and so God had just already started working in my life. And as a young man at 19, really knowing nothing, and not really kind of having a foreseen plan of, all right, I'm done with college, now I'm going to start my career, and now I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like the and those things are great. I just had these orchestrated steps that were, I believe, divinely given to me to help me through these challenges of life. Because I look back at them and just wonder, I was like, there's no way I could have done what I did without help, without some type of help. And I attribute that help to God and Jesus. And so for that, I moved into working with my father. We planted a church together, and I started leading different ministries. My wife and I, as a church plant, everything starts super new, and ministries and needs start happening all over the place. And so we went from changing diapers to leading youth group to helping teens to leading worship as I developed with my musical skills, and so from that point, I was actually a volunteer firefighter, and did that for 9 years. I thought that I was going to be a firefighter, and again, that was not the direction that God had wanted me to go down. And so from that point, I had passed my EMT and got into the medical field a little bit, and actually went into the OR and worked as got licensed and certified as anesthesia technologist eventually. So spent over 6 years in the OR operating room and did that. And that's why I went to Idaho. I came from Nevada to Idaho, moved the family, trying to make it quick. And then we stayed there. I worked for St. Luke's in Idaho. And not but a year later, went to a garage sale to buy a bicycle for the summer rides that I wanted to take my kids and wife on down different green belts and stuff, that they have in Idaho. And met with a guy that their church was looking for a worship pastor. And at that time, having been in ministry for a long time with my dad, I'd kind of had this burnout moment of ministry and people and serving and just constantly being in it. Because at that time, I was full-time in ministry and also not being paid or anything. Well, that was fine, but just full-time, 2 jobs. And then I did side jobs as handyman. So I was doing a lot. And so interviewed with a church in Caldwell, Idaho, out of that. And as of 2019, February 2019, went full-time into ministry as a worship pastor.
So do you feel that that's where you're supposed to be?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Which is totally wild to me. Because again, I see God in so many areas of my life that has just been, he's directed my steps. And, the Bible says he's a light unto my path. And I believe that. And I don't think that I would be in this position and have peace in my life, realizing that my kids have peace and my wife has peace and I have peace. And there's just this sense that when I was working so many different jobs, and that's great. And I, like you, kind of an entrepreneur, and we work and we use our hands, and we use our heads, and like we get things
five
done,
heads,
right?
the
The
five
five head,
head.
yeah. Like we get things done, and I
Yeah.
think that that's
Yeah.
something that I totally respect out of you, and I can see so much similarity of how we connect.
Do you think it's part of the peace process of for you guys coming here and meeting me and my family?
Yeah.
How has that made you feel?
Well, there's a sense of like fulfillment, there's a sense of like a joy that has like come over my life, to realize that there is a connection, there is, because I believe that God wants that. I believe that God is a God who wants families to come together. Like that's why he created, humans. And it was just about to love and to honor each other and to love him. And so I think that coming here has been a blessing to him. And I love that. And I think it's been a huge blessing. I know it's been a huge blessing to my wife and I. And I look forward to having our kids together, just meeting, because I see.
Yeah, you gotta bring your kids.
Yeah, I know. It's so expensive.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
so expensive.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's great that my sons have another set of cousins that are
Yeah.
out there that they get to meet. But
Totally.
for me, it's also I have a younger brother, but now it's like just another brother from the other side of that family that
Sure.
we share all these other characteristics and stuff. So for me, it's kind of I think it's more of a peaceful thing for me knowing that someone else out there had gone through very similar trials and tribulations that I had as a young kid, dealing with the same situation, and then coming through that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I'm not alone.
Yes. Yeah, there is a sense of that. Absolutely. And the tangibleness of knowing that, flesh and blood is here, and to have that has been huge for me, because, for many, many years, and even still having my faith in God has been something that's not tangible, and being something that I trust and can have that hope and realize that it's there. It's always there, but it's not tangible. And as humans, we're tangible people,
Right.
right? We want to feel, we want to touch, we want it here, we want it now.
We want evidence.
Yeah, right. We do.
And God's like, well, here's your evidence. Boom. Here's your brother. Go see him.
Yeah, so I mean, that in of itself is just a miracle.
By the way, I gave you both the same forehead.
Yeah, so yeah, I
so
mean,
you'll recognize each other when he picks you up at the airport.
Totally. I mean, yeah, it was amazing. It was like a light beacon coming off.
We are from the same tribe.
Yes, that's right. No, I mean, honestly, just kind of wrapping up there is, I'm so grateful that God has just been that hope for me in my life, because there's been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, a lot of heartaches, a lot of, regrets and all of that. And I'm just so thankful that I can just put that on him and give that to someone that I know who's going to just take care of it. And he always has. I mean, through 15 years of marriage and raising kids and still raising kids, to doing one job to the next, and going from, I worked a mushroom factory to working on the military base, to thinking I was going to be a firefighter, to now, in the OR, and now I'm a pastor. I mean, just...
Wait, they call it a mushroom factory, not a farm?
Yeah, there's a mushroom factory. Yeah, so it wasn't one of those weird ones, right? The psychedelic ones. But, they have a factory where I worked as a lineman, where we grow the mushrooms at a certain point, and then we export them. And then they go to farms, then they finish the growth of that mushroom at the farms. Yeah.
Very cool. I did not know that.
Cool. It's actually, the science of mushrooms, like portobello mushrooms and such, main grocery store mushrooms, they're actually started in basically kind of like a lab. Yeah. It's very sterile, which is super funny because mushrooms are fungus.
Mushrooms, right.
It's a fungus. So it's actually a very sterile process that has to happen in order to actually start the process of growing a mushroom. It was very challenging because it was like the stupidest job. I think I've ever
It's
had
like,
in my life.
how do you introduce yourself to someone? It's like, yeah, I'm Jason. What do you do? I grow mushrooms, but not to full fungi.
Yeah,
I just grow
yeah.
them a little bit, and then I
Yeah.
send them to someone else to grow.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Wait, what?
I've done so many things in my life. I'm 34, and yeah, I mean, from installing windows to commercially to putting out fires to pulling people out of cars to making people better out of surgeries to, I mean, God's been all over it. It's been amazing.
Mhm.
It's really been amazing.
It's almost like all of those professions, you're gaining a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of experience, and all of that little bit of stuff is gonna, apply to you sometime in your life. You're gonna use
Yeah.
that, fall back on that. It's like, hey, I knew how to do that back then. I know what to do now.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what I would do with mushrooms other than eat them.
you
but
never
but
know.
you never
dude.
know.
You never
Yeah.
know.
That's right.
They're making like new leather and stuff like that out of mushrooms.
What?
Yeah. So they're growing mushrooms and they're not leather. Well, yes, leather, but also packing materials, and they're using it as like a replacement for styrofoam and stuff like that.
Mushrooms.
Yes.
Get out of here.
Not like the bloom of the mushroom, but the under part of the mushroom. I don't know what
Yeah.
it's called.
Sure. The stem or something.
The stem, but it's like a full block of
Funny.
fungus or something like that, and it dries it out, and they form it into like
Sure.
forms to put into boxes and stuff like that, and you put the TV inside. So it's not styrofoam or anything like that. It's weird. I don't know. And then they're using it to like make fake food or steak and stuff like that, and bacon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you just fry this and it tastes just like bacon. We flavor it. It's like, it's a freaking mushroom. But it looks good. I think I'll eat it.
Sure.
But it's not like a portobello mushroom. It's actually like the stuff that's underneath the mushroom.
Okay.
What's underground in the mushroom? Because what you see with the mushroom plumes out of the ground is just the top.
Honestly,
There's a whole thing underneath.
all I could do was just get through that job. Like, I don't even know, to be honest. The science of like what a mushroom is, I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
know.
I can drive a semi-tractor trailer.
Really?
I learned to do that at FedEx. Yeah, I worked at FedEx for.
I could drive a mean engine. Like, I could park and serpentine an engine like you wouldn't believe.
An engine?
Yeah, fire engine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
You might have to do that one.
I mean,
Never.
I couldn't grab any engine right now, obviously. But when I was, it was
riding
fun.
around the block with that.
Yeah, exactly.
See, what else did I do? Oh, I am not afraid of heights.
I don't.
Funny.
No, I'm not either. Like, I can go. Like, I get kind of weird about it, but I'm not like afraid to. Like, one of the bucket lists that I have is skydiving.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever skydived?
No,
Ah.
only because it's freaking dangerous. Like people die.
Well,
So it's
duh.
like it's not. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of dying with faulty equipment.
Oh,
Like that's different.
yeah.
No, we had a.
Have you like parasailed here then?
No, it's tourist thing, expensive.
Oh, okay.
I totally would.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've done rappelling, hung off cliffs and stuff like that. So that's fine. And I
Yeah.
had a job where we had to pick orders from high rafters and stuff like that. So you're on this order machine. The machine goes up like 2 stories or 3 stories or something like that. And you're at the very top. There's wiggling around as you're driving. So the first question they asked me in the interview, "Are you afraid of heights?" I'm like, "What kind of job is this? Are you afraid of heights?"
Sure.
No, I guess not. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And it turns out, no, I had fun.
That's great.
I was amazed that your feet are like tiny though.
I do have. Yeah.
You have like the size of my kids.
And they're
my little
flat.
kids' feet.
I know.
Well, I have flat feet too.
But they're. I know. They're just.
You get the finger shoes.
Well, I'm not
5
that tall of a
finger
guy. Like, well, like 5'6", maybe. And maybe on a good day. I think that's coming
Height's not
out
in
of bed.
in our family.
You know,
Yes.
coming out of bed, I'm like 5'6". By the end of the day, I'm like 5'4".
Shrinkage is a thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's his thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I need to spend like a few months in the outer space or something. That whole decompression process.
Mhm,
That'd be amazing.
mhm.
Grow like 4 inches.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, those
Okay.
astronauts come back and they're like
Yeah, but they can't walk.
few inches taller.
Yeah, but they can't walk.
Yeah, that's true.
They're all weak and skinny and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Things.
I mean, I could be a little bit skinnier. You see me? Like, how much do I weigh?
I'm gonna go 180.
Yeah, we're on there. 180, 185.
See? Yeah, that's not bad.
After tonight's dinner, like 190.
Yeah, right? Especially after the pie. Totally.
Yeah. I'm a heavy guy. I sink in the water. I don't know what it is. Dense bones.
Dense bones.
So they tell me.
Yeah. I can never float on my back really well.
Nope, can't do it at all.
Yeah. Can never really. I have to like barrel
Even
chest,
in,
like
even
suck in a
in,
bunch of
in
air.
school, like when they were trying to teach us to float on your back, I'm like, okay, I'm floating on my back. And they're just like, relax. I'm like, okay. And then bloop, 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 bloop.
Yeah.
Just sink.
Right.
And then I would like find neutral buoyancy, like 2 feet under the water.
Right.
It's like
It's like, this is pointless. I'd rather just kick my feet and swim.
I'm holding my breath and I'm underwater.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like I don't stay on the surface.
That's funny.
And everybody else is floating on their back.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just sit on the bottom. How about that? I just hold my breath and sit on the bottom. So I find when I'm in water that I'm the most relaxed.
It's funny. So I've always, being that I've grown up in Nevada, dry desert heat, where, I mean, I just came back from Idaho where it's like been a 108, bro.
Ugh.
Like 106, highs 90s, like ugh stuff, right? I've always wanted to be near water. And that was well before I even knew you were.
It's in your blood.
Oh man, it is something about Hawaii blood. Like, it's like, go be near water. Like, you belong on the water. And I could live on the beach. Like, I totally love water. Totally love water. Yeah.
And I don't like fish.
That's
I
funny.
don't know why
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I eat poke and stuff.
Sure.
Fish sticks. Love fish sticks.
Okay. Well, that's not really fish. I mean,
fish and chips.
yeah, that's,
Pour like vinegar all over that.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
yum.
good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
You just don't like,
I just had bad experiences with fish, and I sometimes always just happen to eat the bone.
yeah.
And it's like boneless fish. I'm like eating the bone. I find the bone.
Yeah.
It's like I'm always.
We have a
out
lot
one.
of trout in Idaho. And so really bony fish.
Yeah, I don't know
but,
how people don't die from that. It's like,
No. Yeah, I mean, you have to, it's not, I wouldn't say acquired, but I mean, you have to have a lot of patience. Like,
oh, I'm just not. I'm a lazy eater.
I'm a slow eater. Are you a slow eater?
No, I shovel food.
Really?
Yes.
I could sit on a meal for 30, 40 minutes and
Oh,
just sit there.
dude, no.
Even when I was a boy, like a young boy, like my mom.
It's
would-
all cold and everything.
Oh
after?
yeah, I just totally, and I don't know if it was the point of like where everybody would leave, and I then felt super, because I'm like introverted, like I don't like,
Yeah.
like I'm totally like good being alone, and I just, maybe it was the fact that if I knew that if I ate as slow as everyone else, everyone would leave, and I'd have my plate to myself. Maybe that was the psychology behind it. I don't know.
Just leave.
Yeah.
I had the other one. I was like, I can finish fast and get off the table.
My oldest is like that. He inhales food. Like, I kid you not. Like, he just, bam. He'd be a great person to go into the military because it's just,
That might have been it because my dad's in the army, so it was always kind of like, hey, sit down, eat your food. It's time to stop talking and just eat.
yeah. Was your dad, was he around often?
Yeah.
Like, was he like really involved in your
Yeah,
life?
he was really, really involved. Until we got older, I say probably when I was 11, 12, 13,
Yeah.
is when he started going off to doing a lot of trainings and stuff like that.
Okay.
But he was around for most of the time.
Sure.
But then he would have his trainings and deployments and stuff like that where he'd be gone for days or weeks at a time.
Okay.
But for the most part, he was around.
That's cool.
But yeah, it definitely was not an everyday thing, which is one of the big reasons I didn't go into the army.
Sure.
So I didn't want to be gone like all that time.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about your dad, though.
Yeah, it happens.
It does. You know that they say that death is pretty inevitable, and statistically speaking, that
Almost a certainty.
it's pretty certain.
Yeah.
One out of every person's. I mean, just kind of light
like
it up.
one of my greatest quotes from Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. Do you ever listen to him?
I don't. No.
His greatest quote when he tells people is like, "You're going to die."
Yeah.
That's your motivation. Like, you're going to die, so do something about it.
Yeah.
Like, do something with your life because you're going to die
Sure.
today, tomorrow, 10 years from now, 30 years from now, 100 years from now. Who knows? You're going to die, so do
Yeah.
something with your life.
Where do you feel like in that quote currently? Like, what does that mean to you currently? Do you feel like you're
I feel
living in that quote, or is that something that you're aspiring to?
Aspiring to. I think I'm
Okay.
always going to be aspiring to. I don't think that's anything that would be complete. You know, I think throughout my life, like when I retire from my work, my job, I'm not going to stop working.
Sure.
I'm not going to stop creating. I think just with the podcast, you know, creating and becoming a content creator has been so fulfilling that I just want to do it. And I want not just me doing it, I want to do it for other people as well.
Sure.
Like I'm finding that to be like one of my passions. And
Yeah,
I
I
can do
love
that
that.
till I die, you know, till I grow old and don't have to do anything. So,
Yeah, no, I love that.
I think I'm
it's-
always going to be doing something.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same way. I can't sit. I've got kind of I don't know if it's ADHD or ADD or whatever, you know, just constantly moving, constantly thinking. And I guess one of the reasons I love ministry work is that there's always something to think about or to help with or, you know, be a part of. And it's what's kind of helped my brain. Plus I'm artistic, you know, too. And it gives me that freedom.
It's been so great having you on the show. It's been, you know, very informative, and you know, just having you here in Hawaii and meeting you and your wife has just been, you know,
pretty surreal.
amazing. Yeah, it is. I think for me, I think that one of the biggest things, not just your forehead, but the eyes, like, because you have the same eye color,
Yeah.
which me and my other siblings here, we don't. I have lighter eyes than they do,
Okay.
and you and I have like the same color,
Yep.
kind of a dark hazel
Mm-hmm.
color eyes. So hey, now that's where I got it.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's been great, man. I totally appreciate you having me on, and obviously to think about like, okay, I'm going to meet my brother and then we're going to make a podcast and we're going to be able to share this story out there to hopefully inspire others. I feel like, you know, because I was nervous. Honestly, I was very nervous to send you that first text message. I didn't know how you were going to respond, if you were even you, if it was, you know what I mean? Like,
Who dis?
yeah, I mean, right. I mean, how you,
And I think when you texted me, I was like, "Hey,
yeah, you were like super energetic about it or something, you know, and it was good. You know, so maybe just using this podcast to even help others to aspire to like connect, man,
Yeah,
like connect,
definitely.
like reach family, Ohana, right? I mean, it's something that is so important, for so many reasons, and we all have hurts, we all have hangups, and to be able to just come alongside each other and just know like, hey man, you're my brother, like I got you,
Yeah,
you know, and
definitely."
hear your story and to know like, wow, like you probably struggle with a lot of similar things that I struggle with or have struggled with, you know, and to have that tangible, right, that tangible thing that we've been talking about, is amazing. And I think that is very relatable to people that hopefully listen to this, and for the future podcasts of, it's people need people, you know, and it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So thanks, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Awesome, man. You're welcome, and thank you for coming to Hawaii.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. It's been great, and remember, stay happy, Hawaii.